It's Kenpachi versus Kenpachi. Who will Kenpachi the most? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Bleach, the Thousand Year Blood War episode 10. I think this is. I think we're in double digits now. Yeah, 10. And last we left off, we had Ichigo, now joined by Renji, continuing through the Squad Zero training, I guess you could call it. Preparations for training. And now they're heading to the Squad Zero member who created Zanpakuto in the first place. I don't remember any of their names, by the way, so I'm just going to keep calling them the Squad Zero member or whatnot. The last one, the one who, the lady who was, cooking all the food and everything, she created the mod souls, like what Cone is and everything. It's interesting to find all this kind of interesting information out. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where that's going. But, in the meantime, we also have the Battle of the Kenpachis. Kenpachi Zaraki, the Kenpachi we've known, is now taking on the first Kenpachi, Yachiru Unohana, who, that's also a bit of a twist. She has the same name as Kenpachi Zaraki's lieutenant, which I don't know what that's about yet, but that definitely has to be important. I wonder if, that's relevant at all. Is she the first Yachiru as well? But amongst that, we also have the fact that this is also a twist for Unohana's character. Because this completely recontextualizes her. We find out, she was part of the original 13 Court Guard squads, from the very beginning. And that's pretty insane. That her personality is... I don't know if I would say, her caring, calm, and, motherly personality is necessarily fake, or some kind of ruse or something. But I feel like both personalities may be real to a degree. And like I said last time, we knew obviously Unohana was extremely strong, not just in a medical sense, but definitely in terms of a combat sense. I mean she's, squad 1 for a reason, right? So it's not a surprise that she would be strong enough to not only just take on Zaraki, but possibly even stronger than him. Which I guess is kind of part of what this all is aiming to achieve, to figure out. It's interesting just to have this new lore dropped on us. And I wonder, how far this is going to go. It's already, kind of saying, that one of them's going to have to die, and it's clearly going to be Unohana, right? They're vastly setting up for that. With the fact that they showed, both of their lieutenants, and the fact that this was all for the sake of training up Zaraki so that he could become stronger to help defend the Soul Society during the next likely invasion. It's it's basically telling us Unohana's gonna die here. That this is to make Zaraki stronger than her and to make him, strong enough to be able to take on these enemies more efficiently. So we already know that Shinsui is taking over as the head captain, taking over Yamamoto's position. He's choosing to have multiple lieutenants. which he's technically allowed to do because of the council's own rules. And he's the one who decided to train up Zaraki this way. I'm just curious as to exactly what's going to happen here. Because we had, like, kind of the fake out with her killing Zaraki. But then her, like, saying, I'm not going to let you die and everything. Because you get stronger on the brink of death. It's like a Saiyan or something. Yeah, I'm just... This is really interesting, really fascinating. So, we'll see how this ends up going. And hopefully shit gets real. Like, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But we don't have that long left in this part of the arc. Because there's only 13 episodes in this part of the Thousand Year Blood War. And then there's, like, the second core that was released, and I think the third core is currently going, or just ended or something. And I think they've already announced that the fourth core is going to be coming later this year, or something like that. Something like that. I don't know. I've been trying not to pay too much attention now that, especially now that I'm reacting to it. But, with this ending, like I believe I said this last time, we are going to be taking a break between them, so just be prepared for that. I don't know if I'm going to do the final 2 episodes of this core together yet or not. I haven't really decided, but obviously you'll know ahead of time. Hopefully by next episode, I'll know for sure if I'm going to. It's going to depend on a lot of factors. It's going to depend on, like, scheduling and all. With other stuff we're doing and are going to react to and everything. I'll figure it out. In the meantime, I think we should get on with this episode and see what we have in store. So, let's get this started. Hold up just a second there. Before you click that link down in the description below to go to today's reaction, I just wanted to take this moment real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. Every single day of the week, we have some awesome Let's Plays for you. A bunch of different things to check out, and more coming in the future. And don't forget to click that subscribe button or like the video if you really enjoy the content I'm putting out. There will be more to come in the future. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I'll get to the Kenpachi stuff, but I want to talk about Ichigo's portion first. Because it's fresh on my mind, and I already forget Blade God's name, so I'm just going to refer to him as that. I want to get this focused on first. So Ichigo and Renji head to their next stop. They meet, again, I'm just going to call him Blade God, who is, very, very high energy, to the point where it kind of freaks both Ichigo and Renji out. But he is the original creator of the Zanpakuto, which we know about. And we find out through this that Zanpakuto are created from, let's hope I get this right, Asauchi, I think is what he said. Asauchi are like prototype Zanpakuto in a way, that when you're training as a Soul Reaper, you are assigned. All of them are the same, and all of them have the ability to become anything, really. They have the ability to change form, to change their specialty and all later on. But initially, they all start off as, like, complete copies of each other. Very basic blades. And mind you, there's a lot more to them that we don't know yet, because, Blade God wasn't going to just tell Ichigo and Renji the truth of everything. But while Renji obviously, was trained in the Soul Society and had an Asauchi and all. Ichigo didn't. His situation is entirely different. And so he's had to, deal with things differently. And so Blade God puts them under this test where they have to face off against a bunch of these Asauchi and learn what it means to basically respect your Zanpakuto, to understand and care for your Zanpakuto, that kind of stuff. And at the end of 3 days, Ichigo succeeds. Renji succeeds. With flying colors, apparently. But Ichigo is the complete opposite. Not only does he fail, but he fails so hard, it's unbelievable. And Blade God basically says, you need to leave the Soul Society right now. This is for Soul Reapers. You're not a Soul Reaper. You need to go. And he actually literally forces him out of the Soul Society. He's like, I am not remaking your Zanpakuto. You are not getting another chance. This is just not happening. But after he teleports him away, he also adds in the point of, you have to go back to find out who you really are. And we know, he's already gotten the hints of the stuff with his mother being a Quincy. I assume that's what it's talking about. The fact that he's, part Soul Reaper on his father's side, part Quincy, also a Fullbringer and Visored and everything else. Seriously, Ichigo is everything. But it's he's got to touch on all of this and figure out who he is before he can come back. Blade God makes it very clear that he can come back, but he doesn't tell Ichigo this because that would ruin the point. It's made very clear that he can come back and will, likely. But Blade God is you have to learn about who you are first, even if it does mean you can't come back. And it's it's kind of up to Ichigo, from what we're gathering. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this all comes to a head, because he's very clearly about to talk to his father, right? He was transported back home to Karakura. He's got to be talking to his father, because we saw Ishin with Kukaku and Ganju. And the others from the Fullbring arc. So, yeah, they've got to... This has got to be that. And considering we've already had the setup with finding out that he's half Quincy and everything, it's this is clearly what it's being set up for. So I'm very, very interested in next episode in that regard. But... let's actually talk about the Kenpachi thing now. So we get the conclusion to this fight, which I'm kind of glad it didn't, take too long, because I feel like a fight like this shouldn't, based on what it's centering around, but also just in general. This isn't Dragon Ball Z or some shit, right? So we see them continue to fight, and we get backstory. When Zaraki was young, a little kid, he created this mountain of corpses and fought Unohana. And at that point, he was already, notably stronger than her. But because their fight allowed both of them to find someone who they could match up against in terms of combat, Zaraki, in order to make sure that he never lost that feeling of joy fighting, he subconsciously lowered his ability. He subconsciously held back in order to never be able to defeat her. Because he felt like if he did, he'd lose what brought joy to his fighting, to his combat. And in reality, he was much stronger than her from the start. So this fight, like I said, was always for the sake of making him stronger. by basically allowing him to release that restraint that he had subconsciously put onto himself. But in order to do that, he had to take the title of Kenpachi completely. Uraraka, no. Unohana had to die. There was no getting around it. There was no alternative. She had to die. And she died happy. Not just because she could allow him to unleash his full potential, but because she died doing the one thing that she loved. Fighting. And fighting against someone who was stronger than her. Someone who gave her that rush, that thrill. She died happy, in pure bliss, even, because of that. And my only gripe about this entire thing is that this was thrown on us and resolved super fucking quickly. I'm not saying that this fight needed to last longer, but I'm talking about like Unohana's true personality and character. Like, at the end of like 2 episodes ago, it reveals it. Then we have last episode and this half of this episode, really. And it's like, you get an episode and a half and then like, I don't know, a minute of the previous episode. And that's it. It's like, I understand the point of why this needed to be resolved quickly once she was unleashed. But it's also disappointing that it's just like, it's revealed and resolved in such quick succession. It just feels like we didn't get enough time with it. We didn't get enough time for this backstory and everything. It's one of those cases where, honestly, the anime, at least, I guess, if this is like, if it went this quick in the manga too, the anime should have like stretched it out. Because at least into the full length of this episode. But preferably more. Because it just felt way too rushed as it was. And it's like, this is why I don't understand One Piece fans saying that the anime is stretching things out too much. It's like, no. It's making things better by, you know, adding time and depth to everything. Well, not everything, but, you know, certain things that it just increases the tension, increases the excitement, increases the just general entertainment value, etc., etc. And it's like, I've actually found an example here of another one of the big three needing to do that. It's actually an issue that it didn't do that. At least in my opinion. It's all subjective, of course, but yeah. Either way, Zaraki does finally come out of his shell after Unohana uses her Bankai, which is basically just a shit ton of blood. It's like, it's fitting, but again, I feel like it would have been more impressive and exciting if we had a lot more build-up to all of this. Because as it was, it's just like, it's too quick. It's too out of nowhere. It's just too sudden. And because we didn't have enough build-up to it, it didn't hit as well as I think they were intending. I just feel like it was so rushed. But Zaraki does finally let go of his restraints, his subconscious restraints, and he does manage to kill her. And the thing is, she probably could have healed herself from that. I mean, because she was literally healing him from death. But she chose not to because she accomplished her goal. And this is what needed to happen. Her time was over. Honestly, her time's been over, and she realized that. Again, She should have died to Zaraki back in the day. The only reason she didn't is because of him holding back. So her getting him to stop doing that means she has to die so he can fully gain the title of Kenpachi. And on top of that, after doing so, his Zanpakuto speaks to him. Clearly for the first time, which, I mean, a lot of people are probably like, duh, I mean, we've never heard that before, but it's like, I don't remember everything from the original series. I wouldn't necessarily remember if his Zanpakuto did or didn't speak to him before. I could tell clearly from this, though, that it's the first time. It's made pretty damn clear by his reaction. But yeah, that's really interesting. Him holding back all this time has, like, cut him off from the full potential of his Zanpakuto as well. That's really interesting. It makes sense, I'm just saying. So yeah, this was a really good storyline that was really cool and epic and everything, but needed a notable amount of more time to flesh it out. And again, even if this was how it was done in the manga, even if it was just this quick in the manga, I just really think that the anime should have extended things. Just found some way to do that. Because as it is here, it's just... It was rushed. I'm very curious about next episode, though. I'm really excited to see, like, Ichigo and his father, presumably, but, I mean, what else is it going to be? It's got to be him talking to his father about all this, finding out more about himself, finding out about his Quincy heritage. So, yeah. Definitely excited for that. And before you say anything, Venom, don't be surprised by the fact that I'm able to hold out and wait for the next episode. It's like, you know that I prefer to wait. You know that I prefer to pace out my watching. You know I don't like binging, if I can help it. So, you don't need to keep saying that. I'm surprised you could wait. I'm surprised you didn't just go to the next episode. I don't even have the next episode downloaded, so I couldn't even if I wanted to. But I don't want to because the wait is going to make it that much better. It's going to make it more impactful and tense and interesting. Like, that's what that's one of the main things I'm excited for with this. So, yeah. But all of that being said, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? What did you think of Sword God's test? What did you think of the finalization of the battle between the Kenpachis? Let me know your thoughts on all of this and more down in the comments below, but no spoilers. Do not spoil me on anything that hasn't been said yet, hasn't been explained, hasn't been shown. No spoilers whatsoever. I'm trying to go into this as blind as possible, and I don't want to know anything before it's said or shown in the series. So, yeah. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Like I said, leave your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.